Property Paralysis. We're talking today about what the typical search looks like for a buyer and what happens if it goes on too long. We're going to diagnose you with what you need to be scared of. Stay tuned.
Yes, Billy. Hello, good morning.
I really do feel like the property doctor today.
Yeah.
Like normally we don't diagnose people on our morning minutes topics, but we will this morning on the side effects.
Yeah.
And what you can basically what's normal and what will happen if you spend too long looking during a search. But you've got the script this morning as to what normally happens.
I do. I'm going to go through it in a minute because I want to talk about what the common progression looks like for a buyer that's just been looking for too long. You know, much like a vendor that's just been on the market for too long and the fatigue sets in and they go through this roller coaster of emotion. It's the same with a buyer. And I was just saying to you off air, Billy, I've had a buyer who legitimately has been looking for a property for over 3 years.
Yeah.
And there's a whole range of reasons why a buyer would even, God, surely people have got something better to do with their weekends than turn up to open homes for over 3 years. But this particular buyer is waiting for the market to come down. And I know there's lots and lots of people out there that truly do believe that the property market's just going to absolutely crash and, property prices are going to halve or whatever it is that they may think. But, the truth is in that 3+ years that he's been looking for a property, the market has just continued to climb and is now so outpriced from the market. He was looking at a house in DY originally, and now he's looking for a 2-bedroom apartment. This is a true story. Let's go through this. A common progression. Yeah. I've got it here, guys. This is interesting. Let's go through it, Billy. We'll go through it together.
Yeah, you do the diagnosis. Okay, so this is what a common progression looks like. I'll start. Months 1 to 2 is the discovery phase. It's the learning of suburbs, prices. It's they may inspect, sort of thinking.
So that's right. They're out there, they're trying to work out like, where do they want to live? What suburbs? What does their budget buy for them? Et cetera, et cetera. So as you said, months 1 to 2, discovery. Here we go. Months 3 to 5, reality sets in. We literally see this. This is legitimately what happens with buyers that are looking for months and months and months in the market. Buyers see comparable properties selling. Perhaps they miss them at auctions or and realize that the perfect property at their budget may not exist. Yep. Here we go.
Months 6 to 9 is the compromise and urgency phase. So priorities become clearer. People will either come to the terms that they may have to accept certain qualities of property. Otherwise, it's, pretty much pushing into 9 months plus where it's fatigue and withdrawal.
Yes, we see this. The buyer that's been looking for ages and all of a sudden they're like, do you know what? I'm not going to be buying now. I'm going to wait. Some become extremely motivated in that 9+ months. And finally buy. Others get frustrated and they stop inspecting altogether. They change their strategy or they just abandon the search.
Yeah.
So look, here's the thing, right? A buyer that's been looking out in the marketplace for that long, usually they did start off with a budget. Again, this is this gentleman that's been looking for 3+ years. Actually, I think it could even be more because just to give you a little bit of background, he started off with a budget of circa 1.6. Now, all those years ago, could have bought a house, as I mentioned, and now he's just looking for a big, oversized 2-bedroom apartment. So often we see buyers are just simply outpriced from the market, contrary to what you may be seeing on Channel 9 News. And then we've got the financial implications. And this just happened to a client of mine the other day, where they had their pre-approvals, but they'd been out looking for so long that the pre-approvals lapsed. Yeah. And then what happens after that, Billy, when they lapse?
We get reassessed, and if rates have gone up, which they have in those years, you can all of a sudden borrow less. And for every 1% change in the cash rate, it's 10% less in borrowing capacity. So it can be a lot. Plus, people spend a fortune in due diligence. I never understood why buyers are so reluctant to make offers because to make an offer it's like a game of tennis. You hit the ball over the net with an offer and you get a return ball, which is a counter offer. And all of a sudden, you know whether you've got game on or not. But all of a sudden, buyers want to do all the due diligence before. And it's like $300 for a building and pest. And it's a legal review of the contract with their solicitor. And they're literally chewing their deposit.
100%. Or if you're wanting to download a strata report, these days those strata reports are readily available. I've had some buyers that have downloaded 10 plus strata reports over time, and that's also a costly exercise. They're coming in depending on what plan a vendor's chosen to take up. It can be somewhere easily in excess of $49 per report. And every time you get your solicitor or conveyancer, as you mentioned, Billy, to review that, that's a very costly exercise. That's running into hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. It really is. So what to do? Okay. I would say that, have a really good grasp as to what your budget can buy you. Do the research. There's so much available information online, guys. Speak with local real estate agents. And again, be honest. Say, look, here's what I've got. I've got a budget that I'm working with of $1.5 million. I understand I probably can't get into a house in the area. What have you got available? Have a look at what properties are selling for in the current market. Right? That's the big thing. And the other mistake that I see a lot of buyers make is they actually hesitate to put offers in. A lot of people don't realize that actually putting an offer in on a property is free. And it does not commit you to buying the property. All right. The only time that you're committed to buying a property is when you have signed and exchanged on a contract of sale. That's the only time that you're actually committed. But putting offers in is free. I've actually just given an offer to a vendor, and the offer had come in low. And I had given the offer to the vendor, and he's like, look, I do want to sell. I am motivated. Can you just leave that offer with me? I'd like to consider it and I'll come back to you. So, we're always saying, guys, put offers in. The property is not ours. We're here obviously to negotiate the highest price out of the market for the vendor. But I had it happen on Friday. A low offer came in. The terms were phenomenal and the vendor decided to take the offer.
Now, can I just tell you quickly what does happen if you spend 6 months searching? It genuinely is quite scary, and we can almost read it on people's faces. It's like a total paralysis by analysis. You've got so many numbers going on in your head. It almost becomes like a decision fatigue. You're second guessing everything. You're constantly comparing it back to something you quite liked, but you missed out on. You're scared of overpaying. You're waiting for the next property to come on. It's just like, it's a lot of head noise.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And also you start to lose that confidence as well. The offer that I had that came in on Friday on a property that we ended up exchanging Friday night, the conversation with the buyer started like this. I've got a budget of X. Now, I know it's probably not going to buy me that particular property, but I'm interested in something like that. And I said, well, why don't you give me your offer on that property? Can you sharpen up your terms and let me go and speak to the vendor, and I'll come back to you with some instructions. And, again, the vendor turned around and said, do you know what? I think we'll take that offer. The terms are excellent and we're happy to proceed with that buyer. Right. But putting no offers in, you guys have got absolutely zero opportunity of being able to secure anything if you don't put offers in. But if you're putting an offer in and you think it's going to be low, you can try and sharpen it up with your terms. And by that, I mean, instead of offering up a cooling off period, you might suggest that you could go unconditional, so no cool off period. And you might try and shorten the settlement period as well. Standard settlements are 42 days, but you might say, look, I can do a 4-week settlement and make it more appealing to a vendor. But no offers, guys, you're going to have no chance of buying anything.
And I think the biggest reason people genuinely believe more time looking means they become more experienced. I do agree up to a certain point, but it does reach a stage where it becomes like emotional burnout. So I think the sweet spot is probably 4 weeks. And if you had to measure that on a number of open homes, look, a healthy number is something maybe like 5 or 6 refined properties on a weekend. I just came off the phone with a buyer who looked at 17. I genuinely said to him, how do you even remember all the addresses you went to? And he said, I don't. I'm like, what's the point in going to them then? You can't have sat there in the week thinking, all right, every one of those 17 properties, that would be perfect.
That's right, exactly. So good to do your research. Great to have really good people on your side as well. If you are genuine about purchasing a property, definitely you should have a mortgage broker on speed dial, or your bank, whoever you're dealing with. You also need a great conveyancer or solicitor that is going to be available to you outside of hours.
Yeah.
That's the big one, right? I exchanged a property on Friday night at 9:30 p.m. So, make sure that you've got someone who's going to be available to you outside of hours, and stay in touch with your local real estate agents, guys. That is the truth. There is quite a bit. I know me personally as an agent, I've got quite a bit of stock off market at the moment. And there's been many a time where a buyer said, Lisa, I didn't even know that property was available. So make sure you're following, active agents in your area on their social media channels. Look how much we do. And make sure that you're on those databases as well, so that we can let you know, because there's plenty that's happening off market too.
Yeah, and if you're spending week 1 and you're not ready yet, the best thing you can do is text the agent saying, I'm not ready yet, but here's what you can keep me in mind for, and give them actually a brief to work with. It'll help the agent keep in touch with the right staff, and that way you're not getting spammed. Because a lot of people like to do the opposite. They say nothing, They go underground. The agent's calling, looking for feedback. The buyer's getting more annoyed because they're just getting hounded. They feel like they're not ready yet, but I think if you communicate properly, you get an overall better experience.
Yeah, I agree. And also to the buyers that are super motivated and hold interest in particular properties, but tell the agent that they're not interested, and then we sell the property and then you get angry at us. Probably not a great idea either. Be honest with us so that we can help you through your journey and just make things a little bit easier for you. And also you should have some fun. You got to have fun with it as well. It's a very special moment, so make sure you enjoy it.
There you go.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.